when she pulls away. Why is she doing it? Let's think back to the beginning of your relationship where things were all new and fuzzy. You would still get butterflies when you would see each other. You were both doing things for each other, pouring into each other's lives. And for the first time in your life, you felt comfortable being vulnerable in front of someone. You feel like you found the one. You have genuine emotional connection and responsibility for this person. And I know being in this space can sometimes be scary, but you're enjoying it, so you keep going. And then suddenly the relationship takes a turn for the worse and she starts pulling back and you have no idea why and you don't know what to do. I see this a lot with my clients, and in this moment in time is when they misbehave the most and they don't understand what's fully going on. So this is what I'm diving into today, because I want you to gain better clarity over your situation with her so you can gain more control in your love life and for your mental health. Hey guys, my name is Juliana. I am a certified psychotherapist with Men's Mental Health Institute. Today we're talking about when she pulls away. Why is she doing it? And how can we better understand it more? If you want to learn more about why she's pulling away, keep listening. When a woman usually pulls away from a man, it can mean two misbehaviors. And these are the two common ones I see the most in my clients. Type 1 is overly anxious, and type 2 is overly angry and jumping to conclusions. So let's get into type 1, a man that is overly anxious or a little bit clingy. This could also lead to you feeling like you need to rethink every single step and behavior that you did. And that's no fun. Who wants to do that? So let's get into it. When we're thinking of someone who's anxious and clingy, why would she pull away from that? Why would she pull away after I'm giving her all of this attention, everything that she needs and she asks for? Well, they always say that less is always more. Sometimes too much of a good thing can sometimes be too real, or maybe sometimes it can be too intense in the moment. So what does that mean? Take your time with getting to know each other. Take your time with building that emotional connection. It doesn't have to happen right away, like a lot of people expect and a lot of people want. Let it happen naturally, organically, and then you'll find that every day you're talking to each other. But then that way it doesn't get too overly done. You're still allowing each other to have your independence and your own space when you need it, and that you don't always need to be beside this person to feel safe and in control of yourself. Sometimes when we're overly anxious and overly clingy, that's the message that it can give. I am not able to emotionally regulate myself. I need help with this. And asking for help is fine. That's totally fine. But when we're unable to ask and articulate, hey, I need help feeling a certain way, I need reassurance with this, and it comes out in behaviors and actions that are anxious or clingy, and it can come off as you have to babysit someone. And no one wants to have to intentionally teach someone how to do something in a new relationship. If it happens organically, it's much easier to combat. But if you're having trouble with this and you're finding yourself really anxious about this person, maybe it's time to do some deeper work on yourself. And that could be through therapy, through reaching out to supports, through more research on what mental health is for men. But at the end of the day, we're looking inwards on what need am I trying to fulfill that I can't fulfill by myself, that's making me anxious and making me really attached to this person. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be one entity. Yes, when you're together, you are a partner and you're a team, but you are still two individual people. And when you lose that independence, we can often lose ourselves. So at this time too, if we want to boost our own confidence and kind of take away that anxiety, deeper work on yourself is a great place to start to find those inner reasons of why we act the way we do. And that is something that we do at Men's Mental Health Institute. We really try to get to the deeper roots of where that behavior came from, understand why, and then fix it into something that is more reasonable and more workable for your quality of life and for the relationships that you are seeking. So this brings me to type 2, when a man is overly angry and jumps to conclusions really quickly. So This might ruffle some feathers, and I know a lot of men do this, but I need to get this out in the air. So I love masculine men. I think it's so attractive when a man knows exactly his needs and values and wants. And I need to say this. Don't hate me, but this is the biggest reason why I see women pull away in this situation. And it's when these types of men are quick to jump to conclusion and they end up cutting her off mid-conversation. This kind of behavior can lead to thoughts for the woman, as in, one, he isn't listening to me, he doesn't care about me, he'd rather dismiss me and get his point across and listen to what I have to hear. And so many situations can come from this, and that's not to say that you aren't allowed to say your point and what you need to do to get it across. There might be a way that is simpler and more effective to making sure that you're respecting both sides and both sides' autonomy. So what does that look like? If she's saying something that you might not disagree with, let her finish her conversation and then go in with your opinion, still respecting what she had to say. That sense of angerness and jumping to conclusion can also bring to the forefront that, is this girl cheating on me? Is this girl doing something she's not supposed to? It can lead to a lot of assumptions or a lot of perceived judgment that does not need to be there. So what can we do instead of this when we feel the need to say what we need to say? Again, let her finish her conversation, whatever that might be. Go in with your opinion, what you view on it, but still respecting her view and her autonomy. Everyone can have different thoughts. It's okay if they don't mesh together. This also gives you an idea of what kind of person she is, what kind of things she can bring to the table. But think about it this way. How hard would it be if after every time you come forward with an idea to your special person, you get cut off immediately and that your voice is not able to be heard? It could also bring up a lot of triggers from childhood trauma if this person has been not allowed to speak a lot during that time, which could also lead into even more fights. So what's the message behind here if we feel very angry and we need to jump to conclusions right away? Again, we want to look deeper of where that anger is coming from. Why do we feel the need that we need to have our voice said first? Does it come from something when we were younger, how our parents treated us, maybe from a past relationship? These are really important things to look at and to understand when you're moving into a new relationship or you're trying to already fix things that you've been butting heads with. Again, it takes two to have these kind of conversations, and it can 100% be done to avoid that, why is she pulling away from me? But at the end of the day, if we can open the dialogue with each other and understand where these emotions are coming from, with being able to say each part, respecting everyone's voice, it can lead to such a better way to have better communication with your partner and also show that you are vulnerable and empathetic to hear what she has to say. So this brings me to my last point. As a psychotherapist, I do feel the need to bring scientific facts into this. Generally speaking, men are more competitive than women. When looking at the two groups completely different, men are more competitive than women. And a lot of the time, that competitive nature isn't controlled within the relationships that you're trying to build. And many times that competitive nature isn't controllable in the relationship that you're building. Now, I'm not blaming men entirely. I think men and women both have sides that are very toxic. And behavior that isn't looked at right now, it can ruin future relationships. And if behaviors that are going excluded and not being watched over right now, in the future, it can ruin relationships, children, and even marriages. But I work with men. And with working, one piece of the pie can truly change the whole dynamic of things. Now let's continue looking at a type 2, a man that is overly angry and jumps to conclusions. So we already know that jumping to conclusions can lead to so many different thoughts for the woman. Is he questioning my faithfulness? Is he questioning my ability to know this information? Does he not believe me when I say this? And getting angry can also cause a woman to withdraw, as it may cause her fear. She might not like the aggressiveness that comes with the anger behind that. It might remind her of something that happened with a past relationship, a past experience, or even something that happened in her childhood. But it also shows that you're not able to have these conversations without getting angry. And we don't want that. We want to show her that we can talk about anything. We are able to control our emotions and regulate them no matter what the situation. And if you consider this situation, her being able just to disclose something opposed to an actual aggravating situation, which one should you be getting angry at, right? Common sense. It kind of shows that, like, okay, this is the kind of guy that can handle these things. I can speak to him about situation. He's a problem solver. Things are happening. But if we're unable to have that emotional regulation during that time, and we do lash out in anger and we do cut her off, it could lead to that pulling back and feeling really cautious and almost like we're walking on eggshells around you. And we don't want to have that energy. We want to feel like it's a nice smooth path. There's no shells or cracks that we're walking on, and that we are able to have these conversations without losing our cool. Hey guys, if you liked today's video, don't forget to follow us on our socials on Facebook and Instagram, where we post daily, and on YouTube, where we post weekly.